This instant, why wait for the world to change if you can be the change yourself? Wouldn't it be wiser to cultivate your own inner garden before attempting to tidy the external landscape? In our life's journey, self-focus is crucial to attract the unimaginable. That's why in this video, we have compiled a series of thoughtful lessons and quotes that resonated with your being to make what you believe to be truly impossible, achievable. Therefore, if you are new here, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Statistics show that only 15% of my audience is subscribed to the channel, so if this content has helped you in any way, I ask you to subscribe and hit the notification bell. These words are meant to be a balm for the soul, a reminder that adversity is fleeting and that strength lies within you, waiting to be awakened. We encourage you to open your heart and mind to these powerful words, allowing them to penetrate your being, nourish your spirit, and elevate your mood, because together we can turn darkness into light and find the strength to move forward. But before we start, as usual, I have a challenge for you. Watch until the end and don't miss any important principle, because one of them could be the key to changing your life forever. The art of ataraxia enters the fascinating world of ataraxia, this state of undisturbed serenity in the face of life's vicissitudes. Imagine for a moment that you are navigating turbulent waters. Waves crash furiously, the wind roars, and the sky becomes an amalgam of threatening grays. Yet, you remain undisturbed, your gaze fixed on the horizon with a calm that seems to defy the storm itself. This image is the epitome of what it means to live in ataraxia, a concept deeply rooted in Stoic philosophy that I invite you to explore and adopt in your daily life. First, let's consider the importance of maintaining serenity at all times. Just like at sea, we face unexpected storms, work problems, personal conflicts, illnesses. These are the waves that try to destabilize us. Maintaining serenity does not mean ignoring these problems, but facing them with a tranquil heart and a clear mind. Remember, as Marcus Aurelius said, perfect tranquility consists of a good ordering of the mind in its own realm. Every challenge is an opportunity. Our ability to remain centered and serene is essential. Now, how do we face challenges with calm and mental clarity? The key lies in preparation and personal perspective. Personally, I adopt a morning ritual of meditation and reflection, taking a moment to visualize facing the day's challenges calmly. This practice equips me with mental armor that protects me from impulsive reactions and helps me maintain clarity in high-pressure situations. We discuss strategies for cultivating inner tranquility. One technique I find particularly useful is the practice of mindfulness. By focusing on the present moment, you reduce the noise of future worries or past regrets. Another strategy is positive self-talk. When I face a problem, I remind myself, this too shall pass, and I can handle it. Transforming inner dialogue is essential for cultivating a lasting state of tranquility. Let's also consider the relationship between ataraxia and effective decision-making. A state of tranquility allows the mind to function at its maximum capacity without being clouded by overwhelming emotions. From this calm perspective, the decisions you make are not only more reflective, but also better aligned with your values and long-term goals. Have you noticed how under stress our decisions tend to be reactive rather than proactive? It's the antidote. Lastly, let me suggest some practical exercises to develop ataraxia in daily life. One of my favorites is the exercise of negative visualization, a Stoic practice. I regularly take time to visualize the worst possible scenarios and how I could face them. This not only prepares me for the unexpected, but also makes me appreciate my current situation more. Additionally, I recommend keeping a gratitude journal. Each night, I reflect on 3 things I am grateful for that day. This simple act reinforces a positive attitude and deep tranquility. I encourage you to integrate these practices into your daily routine and observe how gradually you come closer to a state of serenity and inner strength. Remember, ataraxia is not a destination, but a continuous journey. In the words of Epictetus, do not ask that things happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they occur, and you will be happy. Mastering the will, imagine you are facing a challenge that seems insurmountable. Your resources are limited, time is against you, and each step you take seems to take you back to the beginning. Here is where the real test begins, not only for your skills, but for your will. In my experience, mastering the will is not just an essential component for success, but the essence of what it means to overcome and transform adversities into opportunities. Resilience in the face of adversity, this Stoic fortitude, is built through conscious and deliberate will training. As Seneca used to say, the difficulty of a task is not measured by the effort it requires, but by the will that is invested. Speaking in the first person, I remember when I faced a work situation that seemed destined to fail. My project was not advancing, and the temptation to give up was strong. However, this was the moment when I decided to train my will, to face each obstacle as an opportunity to strengthen my character and persevere. Will training is similar to training a muscle. It requires consistency, effort, and above all, effective methods. One of these methods that I personally implemented was the technique of dividing large tasks into smaller, more manageable parts. This not only relieves the mental load, but also provides small victories that add up to the overall motivation. When facing a large report, for example, I began by setting aside time to structure each session before writing. Each completed session was a step forward on the path to the final goal. Procrastination is perhaps one of the biggest enemies of will. Overcoming it requires more than just good wishes. It demands ironclad self-discipline. One strategy I found useful was to establish a strict schedule and adhere to it, allowing each activity to have a designated and limited time. This taught me to respect my own time and that of others, significantly increasing my productivity. Let's remember historical figures like Marcus Aurelius, whose dedication to Stoicism not only kept him strong during his military campaigns, but also helped him govern the Roman Empire. His personal diary, Meditations, offers a glimpse of how willpower fortitude intertwines with personal reflection and the pursuit of the greater good. Aurelius faced decisions daily that affected not only his own life, but also the lives of thousands, and he did so with willpower tempered by Stoic philosophy. I invite you then to consider these stories and strategies not only as external advice, but as personal tools. Face your own inner and outer struggles with a strengthened, trained and ready willpower for any adversity. Like in my case, you will discover that true power lies in mastering not others, but yourself, and in transforming each obstacle into a step towards success. Acceptance and resilience. Imagine for a moment that you are facing a storm, not just a literal one, but a metaphorical one. Dark clouds gather, and the wind begins to blow hard, threatening to tear down everything you've built. In moments like these, it is crucial to remember the words of the Stoic philosopher Epictetus. Strength does not lie in resisting the wind, but in knowing where to place the sails. Now, how can we apply this wisdom to our daily lives to develop acceptance and resilience? From my own experience, I've learned that accepting what cannot be changed does not imply surrender, but recognizing that certain aspects of our reality are beyond our control. For example, a few years ago, I faced the loss of a very dear job due to budget cuts. At first, despair took hold of me. However, I soon understood that I could not change the economic situation of the company, but I could change my response to this adversity. Developing a resilient mindset in the face of adversity means exactly this, transforming pain into an opportunity to grow. You can do this too. When facing a challenge, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Instead of focusing on the problem, focus your energy on finding solutions or alternatives. Adapting to difficult situations requires flexibility and open-mindedness. Returning to my story, I decided to use my free time to improve my skills and train myself in areas that had always interested me, but that I had never had time to explore. This not only improved my employability, but also gave me a new sense of purpose. Finding strength amid uncertainty is perhaps one of the greatest challenges. Here, meditation and reflection exercises can be of great help. Every morning, I dedicate a few minutes to meditate, focusing on what I am grateful for in my strengths. This habit has helped me stay centered and optimistic, even when the future seems uncertain. Practicing acceptance and resilience is not a process that can be mastered overnight, but a continuous path of learning and adaptation. A particularly helpful exercise for me is writing in a journal. Each night I write down the challenges I faced during the day and how I responded to them. This not only allows me to see my progress, but also to identify areas where I can improve. As you can see, developing acceptance and resilience is a personal journey full of highs and lows. However, armed with Stoic wisdom and a commitment to our personal growth, we can face any storm with grace and strength. Remember, in the words of Marcus Aurelius, another great Stoic philosopher, our life is what our thoughts make of it. Make your mind your ally, and there will be no adversity you can't overcome. Living in the present, imagine for a moment that you are walking through a park. Your eyes capture the green of the trees, the blue sky dotted with cotton-like clouds. You breathe deeply, feeling the fresh air fill your lungs. This moment, so simple and ordinary, is the essence of living in the present, of experiencing life as it unfolds. As the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius said, "When you rise in the morning, think of the precious privilege of being alive, of breathing, thinking, enjoying, loving." This advice resonates deeply in the practice of mindfulness, the ability to be completely present, to be truly where you are, without your mind dragging you to future worries or past regrets. It's liberating. But how do we achieve this state? We start by recognizing that our mind often escapes to the future, creating scenarios that rarely materialize, or to the past, revisiting events that we cannot change. This not only wears us out emotionally, but also prevents us from enjoying and appreciating the present moment. Here, mindfulness reveals itself as a powerful ally. Cultivating presence in the current moment involves a conscious change in our perception. It's a constant exercise, almost like training a muscle that has been ignored. For example, as I write these words, I focus on the feel of the keys under my fingers, the soft rhythmic sound of my breathing, allowing myself to be completely immersed in the creation of this text. This type of practice extends to all facets of life. When you eat, do you savor each bite, or are you distracted watching television? When interacting with others, are you really listening or thinking about your next response? Mindfulness teaches us to return, hour after hour, through simple, deeper practices. A practical exercise you can try is called conscious observation. Choose an object that you can see at this moment. It can be a plant, a book, or even your own hand. Observe it for a full minute. Explore every aspect of this object, its color, texture, and how the light plays on its surface. You'll notice how this simple act can clear your mind and firmly bring you to the present. Another useful strategy is breath meditation. Close your eyes and focus solely on your breath, Feel the air entering and leaving your lungs. If your mind wanders, gently but firmly, guide it back to your breath. This method not only calms your mind, but also strengthens your ability to stay in the present. And it's here, in this being present, where you find the connection to lasting happiness. Mindfulness frees us from the clutches of regret and anxiety, allowing us to savor life, fully appreciating each moment and finding contentment in what is, rather than fretting about what could have been or fearing what might come. Thus, I encourage you to practice mindfulness not as yet another task on your list, but as a way to experience every aspect of your life with renewed wonder and gratitude. Remember, being present is not something that just happens. It's a conscious choice, one that requires practice and dedication. Are you ready to start this journey? Your mindfulness is waiting for you here and now, at this very moment. Virtue as a guide on the path of life. Many of us seek a beacon to guide our decisions and actions towards a meaningful destination. Have you ever felt the need to find a clear direction, to know that each step you take contributes to a better version of yourself? Today, I want to share with you a reflection on a possible path, guided by the light of virtue, taking as a beacon the teachings that you are in the middle of a dense forest. The uncertainty of which direction to take can be overwhelming. Here, virtue acts as your internal compass, guiding not to the easiest path, but to the most correct one. Living according to our values is not always the simplest task, especially when we face the daily pressures that invite us to compromise these ideals. However, remember what Seneca said, "One does not enjoy a full life without challenges. Now dive with me into Stoic virtues, wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance." Each of these not only defines a character trait, but also provides a tool to face life's challenges. Wisdom is that light that illuminates paths and shows solutions where others only see obstacles. It's the applied knowledge that allows you, in the midst of a heated discussion, to find words that soothe and build, rather than destroy. Courage, on the other hand, is the bravery to stand firm in the face of your fears and adversities. It is not the absence of fear, but the decision to act despite it. Imagine that you must speak in public, a task that has always terrified you. Courage is that internal strength that pushes you to take the stage, to share your ideas, to leave your mark on the audience. As for justice, this virtue invites you to look beyond your personal interests. In a world that often rewards selfishness, acting with justice is choosing to be equitable, considering the well-being of others as important as your own. Think of the times you've helped a coworker without expecting anything in return, simply because it was the right thing to do. Temperance, the ability to moderate our desires and passions, is perhaps one of the most challenging virtues to cultivate in a world of instant gratification. But have you ever experienced the satisfaction of saying no to a momentary pleasure because you knew there was a greater good in the long term? That is the essence of temperance. Practicing these virtues not only leads us to a more ethical and respectful life, but also to a fuller and more meaningful one. Each decision made from virtue strengthens our character and deepens our personal satisfaction. Stories of figures like Marcus Aurelius, who in his role as Roman emperor strove to govern with justice and wisdom, or even more contemporary ones like Nelson Mandela, who showed unbreakable courage and a commitment to justice, inspire us to follow their example. So, the next time you face a crossroads, ask yourself, what would the wisest, the most just, the most temperate do? Let virtue light your path, and you will discover that, although the route may be more challenging, it is undoubtedly the one that leads to true meaning and personal fulfillment. And as a Stoic reminder, carry with you these words from Marcus Aurelius. The best type of revenge is not to be like your enemy. The importance of self-knowledge. Let me tell you a story, one that traverses the path of self-knowledge through the eyes of a student of Stoic philosophy. This personal journey, which may be familiar to you, begins with a simple but powerful revelation. Self-knowledge is the foundation of all personal growth and wisdom. I remember the day I came across the words of Epictetus, an ancient Stoic philosopher who said, "Know yourself and don't worry about what others think of you." At that moment, I was going through a phase of uncertainty and doubt, seeking answers in the wrong places. That phrase resonated in my mind, sparking an intense reflection on who I really was and what I wanted to achieve. Stoic philosophy, centered on self-knowledge, taught me to build a solid foundation on which to rely. I understood that to face adversity with strength and balance, I first needed to know my own strengths and weaknesses. Have you ever asked yourself what your true strengths are? Have you been completely honest with yourself about your weaknesses? This process of personal inquiry is essential for any Stoic. To deepen my self-knowledge, one of the practices was the constant practice of meditation, a daily moment dedicated to reflection. Another strategy was maintaining a personal diary, where I recorded not only events and thoughts, but also how I emotionally reacted to them. I invite you to try these techniques. You might be surprised by the revelations about your character and motivations. As my self-knowledge grew, so did my ability to make wiser and more mature decisions. Each decision became a reflection of my values and not of others' expectations. This freed me from many social pressures and allowed me to chart a more authentic path towards my goals. Imagine what it would be like to make decisions that are in perfect harmony with who you really are. Among the most effective exercises I found to increase self-awareness were deep questioning. For example, in conflict situations, instead of reacting immediately, I would ask myself, what part of this is really important for my growth? Am I acting according to my Stoic principles, or am I being driven by fleeting emotions? This practice helped me better understand my motivations and align my actions with them. Through this introspection, each step, each decision became an opportunity to affirm my character and move closer to Stoic virtue. I encourage you to embark on your own journey of self-knowledge. It won't be easy, and sometimes looking so deeply within yourself can be disconcerting. However, remember what Marcus Aurelius said, "The mirror of the soul is clear. It just needs to be clean to see the light of your true being." So, cultivate your mind, know yourself, and allow yourself to live a life of full awareness and authenticity. Do you dare to start this journey towards self-knowledge? Your personal story could be as revealing and transformative as the one I've told you. You have now reached the halfway mark of the video. I congratulate you for trying to become a better version of yourself, and I also humbly ask you to leave a comment, as it helps my channel immensely. If you do not know what to comment, just write mind over body so I know you reached this far. And don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. Also, I've linked some books on Stoicism that helped me become the man I am today, and will also help you achieve a Stoic mindset. Emotion control. Imagine that you are in the middle of a difficult situation, one of those that seems to conspire to test you. Your heart beats strongly, and you feel tension building up in every corner of your body. At this very moment, you have the opportunity to exemplify one of the most powerful principles of Stoicism, the control of emotions. Let me tell you how I learned to remain calm amidst the emotional storm. A few years ago, I faced a significant personal crisis. Emotions threatened to overflow like waves crashing hard against the cliffs. However, I remembered a phrase I had read in Meditations by Marcus Aurelius: "You have power over your mind, not external events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This simple but powerful quote became my mantra in those moments of crisis. I implemented a strategy I had studied in the Stoic texts, the premeditated visualization of adversities, known as premeditatio malorum. Each morning before starting my day, I took time to visualize the challenges that might arise and how I would respond to them calmly and rationally. This practice mentally prepared me for any eventuality, helping me manage and regulate my emotions when adverse situations actually occurred. Another invaluable technique I found was emotional distancing, or what the Stoics call objectification. Instead of saying, "I am angry," I transformed my perspective and began to say, "Anger is present." This simple change in the formulation of my thoughts helped remind me that emotions are transient and do not define my essence, allowing me to observe my emotions as if they were passing clouds in the sky of my mind, avoiding being dragged by emotional impulses. Have you noticed how, in moments of intense emotion, it's easy to lose sight of our principles and react in ways we later regret? This is where Stoic wisdom can be an invaluable guide. Stoics believe that true power lies in our ability to choose our response to any situation. We cannot control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond. To maintain equanimity in any situation, Stoics use another fundamental technique: returning to the present moment. In the midst of a heated argument, for example, I pause and focus on my breathing. I observe each inhalation and exhalation, returning to calm. This simple action centers me and brings me back to the here and now, allowing me to act from reason, not emotion. These strategies are not just useful in moments of crisis, but are daily tools for cultivating serenity and inner strength. By practicing them, not only do you improve your well-being, but you also become a beacon of tranquility for others. Remember, as Seneca said, most of progress is the desire to progress. I encourage you to adopt these Stoic practices in your daily life and observe how they transform your ability to control your emotions and face challenges with wisdom. The power of gratitude. Imagine for a moment that upon awakening, the first thought that crosses your mind is a deep feeling of gratitude. Not a superficial gratitude for the material things you possess, but a genuine recognition of life itself, for the simple fact of breathing and the opportunities that each new day brings with it. I speak to you, yes, to you, because I want you to visualize this practice not as a tedious exercise, but as an adventure toward your own happiness. I discovered gratitude at a time in my life when nothing seemed to make sense. I was caught in a whirlwind of negativity and frustration, watching each day become an echo of the previous one. But then I came across a phrase by Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, who says, "Only when we appreciate what we have can we truly be free." This simple quote radically changed my perspective. I began to practice gratitude daily. Each morning, before even getting out of bed, I spent a few minutes thinking about 3 things I was grateful for. Initially, things were quite basic. I was thankful for my health, for having a roof over my head, and for the food on my table. But over time, I began to notice small things: the smile of a stranger, the beauty of a tree on my way to work, the tranquility of a noise-free night. These daily practices transformed my perspective. I began to see that no matter the circumstances, there was always something to be grateful for. And this is where I want you to stop and reflect. Have you realized how many things you overlook each day? As my constant attitude of gratitude began to develop, I implemented strategies that helped me maintain this mental state. One of them was keeping a gratitude journal. Every night, before going to bed, I wrote down 3 new things I had been grateful for that day. Not just big things. The small details counted as much, if not more. Another strategy was changing my inner dialogue. Each time I caught myself thinking negatively about a situation, I tried to reverse the thought and find something positive in the same situation. For example, if I was frustrated by a traffic jam, I changed my thought and thought, "This gives me time to listen to my favorite podcast." The connection between gratitude and the Stoic mindset of acceptance became increasingly clear to me. Accepting does not mean resigning oneself, but recognizing and valuing what is without wishing it were different. In this acceptance, there is a deep peace that arises from knowing that, although we cannot control everything that happens to us, we can control how we respond. I encourage you to develop your own regular practice of gratitude. You can start with something as simple as thanking each meal, each moment of rest, each interaction that enriches you. And remember, gratitude not only improves your life, but it also has the power to transform the lives of those around you. When you express gratitude, even for the smallest things, you radiate a positive energy that is contagious. Gratitude is not just a feeling, it's a powerful tool for happiness and well-being. As Marcus Aurelius, another great Stoic, said, "The quality of our days is defined by the appreciation we give them." So, cultivate thoughts of gratitude and watch how your life transforms. I assure you the journey is worth it. The transformation of fear into courage. Imagine that you are standing at the edge of a cliff. At your feet, an abyss beckons you to take a step back, but something inside you suggests that, instead of retreating, you should jump. This moment encapsulates the true confrontation with fear, that critical instant where the decision you make can change everything. I have been there, not literally at the edge of a cliff, but in situations that required a leap of faith, moments where fear presented itself as forcefully as the wind hitting my face. Since I was young, I was taught that empathy is the key that opens the door to others' hearts. Today, I want to share with you how this deeply Stoic quality has shaped my life and how it can also transform yours. Empathy, the ability to put oneself in another's shoes, not only connects us to others, but also elevates us to a more harmonious and just plane of existence. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, once said, "What is not good for the hive is not good for the bee." This phrase resonates in every act of empathy because, by understanding and sharing another's feelings, we realize that individual well-being is inextricably linked to the collective. I reflected on a particularly illuminating moment in my life when I met an old friend going through a personal crisis. Instead of offering unsolicited advice or trivializing her pain, I chose to simply listen. In that safe space, she shared her fears and hopes, and by practicing empathy, I could truly understand the depth of her suffering. This strengthened our friendship and taught me an invaluable lesson about the importance of being present. Cultivating empathy in our interactions may seem like a monumental task, but it boils down to simple and conscious practices. For instance, when talking to someone, try to listen more than you speak. Observe not only the words, but also the body language and the emotions that accompany them. This will not only allow you to understand the other person better, but also enrich the quality of your relationships. The connection between empathy and Stoic justice becomes evident in how we treat others. If we act with empathy, we are more inclined to be fair, because we recognize that each person deserves consideration and respect. From my own experience, I've seen how small acts of empathy can resolve conflicts and build bridges where walls once stood. Finally, I suggest a practical exercise that I found transformative. Each day, try to perform a conscious act of empathy. It could be as simple as asking a co-worker how they are really feeling or offering your seat on public transportation. You'll be surprised how these seemingly minor acts can change not only your day, but also those of others. Empathy is much more than a fleeting emotion. It is a Stoic practice that can strengthen our relationships and communities. By integrating it into our daily lives, we not only improve the world around us, but also enrich ourselves internally. I invite you to try it for yourself and discover the transformative power of understanding and sharing the feelings of another. Remember, with each act of empathy, you move a little closer to the life you aspire to have. The beauty of simplicity. Imagine for a moment that you're standing before a vast ocean, the waves moving with rhythmic calm and the fresh air brushing your face. In that moment, there are no emails to respond to, no notifications alerting you, just you and the vastness. It's a scene that invites you to reflect on the beauty of simplicity, a principle we often forget in our daily lives, filled with complications and stress. Have you ever considered the peace you could find by simplifying your existence? As I imagined Epictetus would say, it is the understanding of what you need, not what you want, that sets you free. In my own journey, I decided to apply this wisdom and strive to simplify my life. Let's start with the physical space. One day, I decided to clean my studio. As I organized each item I chose to keep, I ran it through a strict filter. Does this object truly add value? Soon, a cluttered room became a place of clarity and purpose. It was not only more pleasant to look at, but also each time I entered, my mind felt lighter, more prepared for what truly mattered. This clarity extended into the digital realm. I decided to uninstall apps I wasn't using and limit the notifications that constantly interrupted my day. At first, the silence of my phone was unsettling, but over time, I realized I'd regained hours of my day. These hours could now be spent reading, writing, or simply enjoying a quiet moment. This process wasn't easy, and that's where Stoic philosophy supported me. Letting go isn't about giving up things for the sake of giving them up, but understanding what's essential and freeing oneself from what isn't. By freeing up space in my life, I not only found peace but also discovered a greater ability to appreciate the little details and moments I had previously overlooked. Are you ready to embark on this quest for simplicity? Think of that object you haven't used for months, or those apps you open and close without purpose. Imagine the relief of getting rid of that unnecessary weight and the focus you could gain. Simplicity goes beyond letting go of material things. It's also about simplifying our interactions, goals, and even our thoughts. In practice, this could mean choosing projects that resonate with your values, or deciding to spend more time with those who energize you and less with those who drain you. So, I invite you to consider how you can apply simplicity in your life. It doesn't have to be a monumental change overnight. Start with small steps, conscious decisions that lead you to a less complicated life, and one more in tune with your true desires and needs. Simplicity isn't just a lifestyle, it's a path to freedom. The power of persistence. On the path to achieving our dreams, we discover that neither talent nor opportunity determines our final success, but something deeper and more constant: persistence. You don't need to worry about defeating those who stand in your way if you stay firm in your purpose. A phrase reflecting the Stoic virtue of courage reminds us that the road to success is paved with the tenacity of our character and not just with our sporadic actions. Allow me to tell you a story that illustrates the power of persistence in my own life. A few years ago, I set out to write a book about human resilience, a project that was challenging from the start. During the process, I faced countless obstacles: harsh criticism, rejection from publishers, and the most painful of all, internal doubts about my ability. Still, every day I clung to my purpose with almost stoic fervor. Every morning, as I faced the blank page, I remembered Seneca's words: "It's not that things are difficult that we don't dare, it's because we don't dare that things are difficult." This quote pushed me to keep going, overcoming every criticism and rejection, knowing that each small step forward was a victory over despair. And you know what? Finally, after years of constant work and rejecting any thought of giving up, my book wasn't just published, but it also helped many people face their own challenges. This taught me a vital lesson. Persistence can effectively overcome the most difficult challenges. Persistence isn't just about moving forward, but staying firm in adversity. It's when everything seems lost that our stoic courage must shine brightest. Imagine you're in the middle of a storm. Everything around you suggests you retreat, but you, with your gaze fixed on your goals, decide to take another step. That step is what truly matters. We draw inspiration from the stories of those who, before us, achieved great things thanks to their persistence. People like Thomas Edison, who went through thousands of failures before inventing the electric light bulb, or J.K. Rowling, who was rejected by many publishers before her fantasy book series saw the light of day. These examples aren't just success stories, but testimonials of the power of not giving up. I invite you to look at your own life. Where do you need to apply this persistence? What challenge have you avoided because it seems too difficult? Remember, true courage is continuing step by step, even when results aren't immediate. With every challenge we face, we have two options: retreat or advance with renewed determination. Choosing the latter and integrating persistence into every aspect of our lives brings us one step closer to excellence. It's not because it's easy, but because it's possible. In that possibility lies the true essence of Stoic courage. The satisfaction of self-sufficiency. If you've ever found yourself gazing at the vast sea and feeling a kind of indescribable peace, you've likely touched, even if only for a moment, the essence of self-sufficiency. Today, I want to take you on a very personal journey where we'll explore not only what it means to be self-sufficient, but how this quality can radically transform our lives. Imagine for a moment that you're on a deserted island. Everything you need to survive must come from your own hands and skills. Although it's an extreme scenario, it perfectly illustrates the satisfaction of self-sufficiency. When we cultivate our emotional and material independence, we don't just survive. We begin to live with a freedom that only self-sufficiency can offer. For instance, think of a typical day in your life. How many times do you feel you depend on something or someone to feel complete, happy, or satisfied? Now, imagine how your day would change if you could generate those feelings from within without depending on external factors. That's how self-sufficiency starts weaving its magic, freeing us from the chains of dependence. A strategy for cultivating this independence is to start with small steps. Learn to solve everyday problems independently before seeking help. This practice not only improves your skills, but also strengthens your confidence. Facing the unknown alone may initially be intimidating, but little by little, it teaches you to trust your own abilities. What hinders, obstructs, and what benefits teaches, said Seneca, a Stoic philosopher. Self-sufficiency also leads to greater inner peace. Less dependent on the whims and actions of others, our internal world becomes less turbulent and more serene. This doesn't mean you should isolate yourself or reject the company and help of others, but learn to be content with yourself in any situation. True peace comes from knowing you can handle whatever life throws at you. Stoic philosophy speaks of autarky, a state of complete self-sufficiency. The Stoics believed that to achieve happiness, we must free ourselves from desires and aversions that depend on things outside our control. Practicing self-sufficiency is, in many ways, a path to this liberation. To develop greater self-sufficiency in our lives, I suggest starting with practical exercises. Set personal goals that require you to push beyond your comfort zone. It could be as simple as learning to cook a new recipe every week, managing your personal finances, or even cultivating a small garden. Each small victory over yourself builds confidence and self-respect. Self-sufficiency isn't just a useful skill, it's an art form that deeply enriches life. By cultivating it, you not only gain freedom, but also come closer to the true essence of inner peace. And remember, as Epictetus said, the secret of happiness is to love the freedom that self-sufficiency offers. So, take control of what you can and find freedom in letting go of what you can't control. Transform your life with the power of Stoicism, from the serenity of ataraxia to the strength of will. We've explored powerful strategies for achieving personal excellence. I invite you to integrate these teachings into your daily life to experience meaningful changes. Remember, the Stoic path is a continuous journey toward fulfillment. Dare to live a full and meaningful life. Any part of this message has been helpful to you, leave us your like and comment, helping the algorithm recommend it to someone who needs it at this time. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss new videos, and if you look through the videos we've already uploaded, you're sure to find something to take with you. Have a good day. Also, I've linked some books on Stoicism that helped me become the man I am today, and will also help you achieve a Stoic mindset.